for me that has a wireless connection and a Bluetooth connection, so you can plug the little thing into your USB adapter and use it that way, which I have been. But if you go out of range, Radio Boss freaks the fuck out and doesn't know what to broadcast to, and it cuts the show. It is just miraculous how many problems I can run into with my various setups since I won't use Barco's contaminated microphone anymore. It's not just that, though. And by the way, Barco, we promised that we were going to send that setup to Paul Dembski. And I told him to give you my phone number so you could text me, and so I would know who to call for billing. Because you know I'm a poor bitch, man. I'm not tight. Let me give you an example. Here's a quick example of how tight I'm not. So I filed for a VA disability rating on my right knee because I blew it out in the Air Force, and I got like 40% or 50%, but I had to fight for like 2 years. So I ended up getting a back paycheck for like $5,500. I went straight out. I was up north at the time, and I bought a brand new snow machine, which some of you may refer to as snowmobiles, and about $5,100, with the extras and all. Sold it to my ex and or her family for $1,500. It hardly had any miles on it. It's just like, I'm not interested. I don't money. What is that? What is that? I don't understand. And I have a problem with, so I don't make a lot of it, and I don't spend a lot of it. And when I get something nice, I don't know what to do with it. I'm just like, this isn't real. What is this? I think we may really be in the matrix here. It's possible. You can't disprove it, but that in itself is a logical fallacy. If you guys didn't know that, just because you can't prove something doesn't make it true. And it's just like I told, what's his name? Richard. He just mentioned Richard Feynman, so that's throwing me. Richard Dawkins. I said, Richard Dawkins on Twitter, I said, it is the least scientific thing you could possibly do to claim that you know exactly what does not exist, And he's absolutely certain there's no God. I have no idea if there's a God. How could you fucking possibly know that? That's why hardcore atheists bother me. They're making a lot of assumptions about what isn't there. You don't know. You don't know. At the same time, I don't see prayers. I need some evidence, man. I'm going with evidence. You got to grab onto some kind of truth in your life. So for me, that's going to be evidence. And that's just the way it is. Evidence. Evidence is a highly important in critical thinking. Real evidence, not word of mouth. I'm talking about the kind of stuff that can be validated or just dated if you don't have a date. Oh, let's just talk shit now. So what's going on in the news? We know Trump's getting in there with his big hair. I mean, if we get Hillary's beating Bernie now. I thought Bernie was just going to, here's what I thought would happen on the Democratic side. I thought that everybody feared Hillary would be in jail, so they were just jumping on the Bernie cart. But it looks like she's making a comeback. But that's going to be some kind of scenario if she ends up having, being indicted about a couple of months before the election, wouldn't you say? And then you get your Trump, I guess. So I promised Guy and others that if Trump won the general, I would shave a mohawk into my head, record it on video, and share it online, and I will, because I don't think he can win. Too many people hate him already. It's nothing personal. This has nothing to do with my beliefs. I'm telling you what I see. I'm analyzing. Mike says, Hillary can go to hell. She's a pedo, and Bernie is far better than her and Trump, but Trump is better than her. I see how you got them ranked there. I don't know, man. This may be the first year, except for one other time in my adult life, where I actually do not vote. And if that's the case, I will come out and admit it, and I will also go ahead and subscribe to the idea that I'm not allowed to bitch since I didn't vote. So Jeb Bush wants to kill him, huh? Jeb. I thought Jeb had a chance. In the early going, I thought Jeb and Marco Rubio were the ones to watch out for because I figured Republicans wanted somebody that could win a general, and Trump can't. The only way Trump can win a general is if Hillary's on her way to jail come election time and Bernie's already out. So it could happen, I guess. Mike be in the chat room sharing videos to look at. I will have a look at it later. I've got some things to catch up on before I do that. KTap is back from the void. You're listening to Truth on Tap. Your host, Kevin A. Kierstead, will be doing more frequent shows, I think. I hate making promises like that because on the hockey show, I told people I was going to be doing it more often and I didn't because it's because I couldn't. That's the only reason I didn't. It was just I was in a weird spot. So now the frequency should pick up and we'll be back doing fun shows talking about vaginas and jackhammers and all kinds of silly shit. I'll be downloading clips from debates and bad lip readings and all kinds of good stuff. I'm not really going to give you a feel for where I am politically. It's live footage live footage. Oh, it was live footage from the debate. Okay. Uh, I've enjoyed some of the debates, but I'm starting to hear canned answers and a lot of fakeness, and I don't know. I mean, if someone being real would be my ultimate hero, then I would have to vote for Trump. And I can't do that. I just think he's probably a decent businessman, and that's about all I got for Trump. The rest, I don't, put him on a fucking advisory committee for finance or something. I don't know. But in the hot seat, that's a hard one for me to imagine to get my mind around. It could happen, but if it does, I got a mohawk. That's all I'm saying. And I will not look good in a mohawk. Let me assure you of that. But I'll do it because I promised I would. What else is going on in the news? This guy that was talking about conspiracy theories, this Steven Novella, he said something that really caught me off guard, and I had the thought in the back of my mind already, and he said something like, "It seems like every couple of months I'm reading about a new Earth-like planet." Well, Earth-like must be a very loose definition. Honestly. I mean, these planets, some of them are gas giants, and they're saying Earth-like because they're in the Goldilocks zone. I mean, that's not Earth-like. Earth-like is one we can go hop on right now and say, "Oh, where are we? Hawaii? Where? Maybe Madagascar. That's it." No? Yeah. Alex Jones. Oh, God. Alex Jones. He's part of the problem, man. He's part of the problem. But think about the crowd he's appealing to. He's appealing to the crowd, as Dr. Novella said, that both feels out of control of their life and wants some control back, and a conspiracy theory gives them that magic puzzle answer, or they want the easy answer. They can't understand that the world is a complex place with complex things happening, that Lee Harvey Oswald could have done it just by himself. Yeah, it's entirely possible. I've been watching some of the videos of the JFK assassination theories, and I'm going, half of these guys, they don't have evidence. They have a claim. He talks specifically about the JFK case when there's a female witness to the shooting, a witness. And in her first story, she said she saw nothing and heard 2 shots. By 20 years later, she had heard 3 shots and she was chasing a guy down the sidewalk. I mean, this woman's truth was literally changing over time. Now, all kinds of things come into play here. You're probably thinking, what about motive? Was she selling books? Was she making money? Were they trying to interview her, paying her for interviews? Of course she's going to say shit. Maybe. Yeah, have some evidence. Have some evidence and have solid evidence. And it doesn't have to be from a bunch of people, but the more the merrier. It's still got to be solid evidence that can be verified. I mean, you think about a scientist in a lab, they're not living very glamorous lives. That's another thing about media. You're only going to see the science stories that are sensational. It's all the media's selling. They got to thrill their crowd. If they don't thrill their crowd, they go out of business. So Earth-like planet, yeah, they're going to say that all the time. And it isn't fucking Earth-like. I saw recently there was a astrophysicist who came out and said she had proved Einstein wrong. And when you go and actually, that was the headline, new so-and-so proves Einstein wrong. Then you go look at the story and you find out she had some competing ideas that had not yet been validated. And so it was like, okay, a spark of interest, yes. What the headline should have said is, physicist questions Einstein's theories. That would have been valid, but that's not clickbait. That's not going to get you to click. They need you to click to get paid. So you're getting lied to more and more. And that puts us in a bad spot, folks, because eventually, if this trend continues, we're not going to want to click on anything because we're going to be sick of it. It says one thing in the headlines, you get a different thing in the story. And if you go even deeper than that and do a little research, next thing you know, you find out it's just you're chasing your tail. There's nothing there. It's circular reasoning. That's a sad thing to me. We got to find somebody. Does anybody know of any really solid news organizations that maybe aren't in it for the profit? They're in it to tell the news. They don't last long. I guess they get gobbled up. I mean, It's true because we're humans and we want the excitement, we want the drama. I've got some people that are close to me that like to watch local news. I don't watch local news. I don't get involved in local politics. Some point to the front of the car having a bullet in the window. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I saw that part too, Mike. It's not enough. I mean, because of the way bullets can deflect. And like I was saying, everybody talks about how JFK's head went backward. Well, think about this for a second. And I talked about this on another show a long time ago. When a bullet goes into your brain, uh, your motor functions are affected depending on where it hits. And if your brain is severed at a certain point, your neurons are going to fire out commands in all kinds of directions. And there's no reason that in a malfunction, which that is, of the brain, once it starts to separate when that bullet went in, that he wouldn't have flung back. I mean, if it had been just maybe a little bit to the right, say a half a centimeter, he may have flung to the left. And then we're going to have conspiracies about, well, who was shooting from the right? Not necessarily anyone, but your average person won't know this. And we like a good story. We're humans. That's part of the human condition. And this is something I'm torn on because Dr. Novella, in his book about your deceptive mind, and it's a scientific guide to critical thinking, he talks about things and he dismisses some as that's the human condition. Well, that's not specific enough for me. I don't know about y'all. What do you mean the human condition? What part of being human causes us to want to believe this stuff? Let's be specific. Because what he was talking about at the time was, well, people come up to me and tell me, you're ruining the beauty of life. You've taken all the magic out of life. Dr. Novella basically is saying, you don't believe anything. You should see the review I did of his book on Goodreads. Because I was excited when I first got it. I thought I had something special there, and I went through and I was finding errors. I'm going, fuck. I mean, he knows his logical fallacies. He's got those all lined up. We all commit logical fallacies. Sometimes we don't even realize it. Confirmation bias is always at work. Cognitive dissonance is always at work, and that's a hard one to find. That's kind of like your mind's back door that you can't even monitor. You have to really think hard to see when you're engaging in cognitive dissonance, which is essentially telling yourself that one thing is true while actually believing something else that if you put them together are totally counterintuitive. And you will adjust for that. Most people will say, "Oh, well, that's okay." They just overlook it. I mean, these two things are mutually exclusive and you believe them both. How can you do that? Doesn't work for me. Got to be consistent if I'm going to really commit it to my belief system, which is why, in a way, my belief system is almost empty. I leave it open at all times. And I'm always looking for the next piece of evidence. I want to build a working truth. That's my goal, always a working truth. Let's see the world as closely as we can to what it is. Perceptual errors are everywhere. We make errors in our perception all the damn time. And if you don't believe that, just think of the last argument you had. I can't remember my last argument, but I'll bet you remember it differently than the person you were arguing with. And that's why you'll hear people say, I wish there was a camera rolling so we could play that back, because that is not what happened. Well, me too. But cameras are everywhere now, so you don't have to worry about that. Drones are a big deal now. You guys, I think if you want to worry about something, don't worry about Illuminati. Don't worry about ISIS. Don't even worry about the Ebola tard. Worry about drones. Little ones. The little ones you can buy. You realize that drones can carry hand grenades, right? You pull a pen, you get the two-tap one, so you pull a pen and you tap it once, and then the next thing it hits, it's going to blow up. And you can buy thousands of these at once and send them in all different directions. A drone, a medium-sized drone could carry ground-penetrating radar, land on anything we've got, and basically look through it. We're no longer protected, and we need serious, fast protection around our sensitive facilities in America, and really anybody in the world that wants to protect their shit that can disable drones. And that's going to be hard to do, I think, because they range on frequencies, and you can mess with other stuff if you go trying to disable their frequencies with jamming or something. And it's going to have to be laser, I guess, and they're going to fuck up and hit planes and birds and shit. There's going to be a Wild West segment of this new drone war. Nobody's talking about it, but I'm seeing it coming, man. I mean, let's go fiction here. So I get myself a drone. It's a $2,000 drone. It's a pretty nice one. It's a quadcopter.